Good morning. Here we are. We're going to cement this thing. And let's see where we're at here. Right there. Where'd my hand go? Sometimes I'm going to move this camera just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. If I shut this thing off, what was that? There you go. Okay, I soldered that joint right there. A lot of people caught that. I was watching this video again, or the soldering video, last night, and I saw that, and I was soldering over in here, and I saw that I had skipped that one. I thought, going back, do that, but of course I didn't do it. So anyway, here we are. We're going to get it done. Put a couple of these rubber gloves on so this stuff doesn't get too nasty. And I want to talk about the cement. When I started doing this nearly 50 years ago, you couldn't buy any kind of cement. You made your own. Everybody made their own, and everybody that's been in stained glass for any length of time has some kind of recipe that is better than everybody else. And they're using DAP and Lamp Black and I don't know, all these different kinds of stuff. And they work, of course they work. And I made my own forever because that was the only way you could get it. And then maybe 12 or 15 years ago, my distributor that I buy a lot of stuff from had this stuff called Miracle Mud. Miracle Mud. Stained glass cement. So I thought, well, whatever, I'll give that a shot. And maybe if it's any good, it's good. If it's not, I'll just throw it out. So I got it. And of course, you want black for lead work. And I mixed up some of it in there. It comes in a plastic bag and with a plastic bottle of liquid that comes with it. And I changed the bottle out to this heavier duty bottle. But there's the color of the liquid. Yeah, an amber. There you go. Amber liquid. I'm assuming that that's probably linseed oil. I don't know. It's got some kind of other fragrance in it. But anyway, that's what I'm assuming it is. I don't know, because you used to mix linseed oil and make your own stuff. And if you want to make your own stuff, go ahead. This is so consistent every single time. I just mixed it to get the consistency that I want. And the powder itself, it's going to come out black, but it looks like this gray powder. And I put it in this plastic bucket here because the bag, as much as I use it, has a tendency to get a hole stuck in the bag, leak the stuff out. There's a whole bunch of that stuff right there. You can mix a lot of cement with that. And so I thought, well, how easy is this stuff to get? Because I buy it all from the same place. My distributor's in Denver. And so I went on the internet and asked for Miracle Mud, and it's everywhere. So Delphi's got it. All these stained glass outfits have it, different prices. It's not really expensive. And now let's see, what does it look like? Well, I mixed some up. You're supposed to let it set about 10, 15 minutes. So I just mixed up a little batch here. There it is. And of course, you can see now that it turns black. And mix it the consistency that you want. Here, we'll just put some on here. And I only mix a little at a time. And what I like about it, it's... you just work it into the glass, and I'm going to talk about, and when you're doing this, be careful not to push too hard on your glass, because you break a piece of glass, and that is not what you want to do. If you break a piece of copper foil glass on a piece, that's not hard to fix. This is a little more difficult here to fix something that you break here. And see, all I'm doing is just working that cement underneath the lead came. And this is a real tight fitting window, so there's not much. I should flip that up and show you how tight that is. That window is fitting tight. Sometimes some windows you put them together and you can hear the glass rattling around a little bit. You didn't maybe get a good fit everywhere. This window was all these horizontal and vertical lines, so it made it fit real well. Plus, I spent the extra time to make it fit real well. So we're just going to work on this flower here a little bit. Move. And this cement, you'll need to let it dry about 24, 48 hours. Looking at that joint right there. And I've got my soldering iron here. I don't have it heated up. But if I don't like the way something looks, I'll come back and solder it again. You can't hurt it with this stage. And we're just taking some of this extra cement here and pushing it out, moving it around. working it in. This is going to be, I don't know how many people would really need to see much of this, but everybody wants to know a little something about every step of this. So particularly people that are trying to learn how to do this. See, I'm taking my fingers and just getting some more out of there, and we're just kind of spreading it out. I just started right there because that's where the camera happened to be poking down. You don't want to miss any of this stuff. And what this is going to do after 24 or 48 hours, and you do both sides, after 24, 48 hours, this starts to harden, and man, one of these lead panels ends up being like a board. Now this panel is so small, people ask about reinforcement. You don't need any reinforcement on a lead panel this small. And you could probably go on up some more from this size before you worry about reinforcement. And this cement really adds a lot of rigidity overall to this panel. And you're going to get this really cool look. Now, you won't see the cement, but there is an effect to it. It makes the panel, I mean, there's just no leaks. Of course, I don't have any light leaks anyway because I fit everything so tight. But it really will compensate for, in some cases, a little bit of a error that you have in trying to fit some piece of glass down into a hole like that. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to put this other glove on. Those gloves will wear out real quick. Put two of them. There you go. Okay, now we'll just use both hands to work this in. I'm just coming across here, and we'll get a little bit more right there. And then the other thing that I do, I think that's probably different than most people, is that even the directions on the Miracle Mud, and everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, probably nearly everyone that uses cement. Let's go over here where you can see this. Probably everyone that uses cement on a leaded glass window like this, we'll just get this off here. See how I'm just pushing that up under the edge of that? Come right in here. Now I'm going to start getting a little bit more methodical in which ones we're doing and which ones we're not. I don't want to get lost. I don't want to skip anything. But people that do this, the next thing they're going to do is clean as much of this stuff off as they can. And then I noticed Delphi had this Miracle Mud stuff, and right along with it said people also buy, and there was in fact, I've got a jug of it right here. Where is it? Right there. I got a whole quart of plaster Paris. And though anybody that's messed around with this stuff knows that plaster Paris is just a white compound, powder compound. And most people come back after they get this stuff cleaned out of here, and I'll show you how you do that here in a minute. We'll do this one side, and won't worry about the other side. I'll just show you this side. The other side's going to be the same thing. Anyway, see how I'm getting it all worked on here, particularly up under here. Anyway, people will come, you get all this stuff cleaned off around here, and then they sprinkle that plaster Paris all over the window after you get all of this cleaned up that you can get cleaned up, and polish it up and polish the window up and clean it some more. Well, I thought that stuff, you know, it's powdery all over everything. What a mess. And so I kept thinking over the years, man, I hate this part of it. I don't really mind this as much as the plaster Paris and all the mess that creates. And plus, I don't like all that powder, and you should be wearing a mask and all this stuff to keep from breathing it and all that. So I thought, well, I got a better idea. Half this shop in here doesn't look like it, but I got a lot of stuff sitting in here that would not normally be here. But my wife has taken over part of this thing for all of her bird feed. We got a lot of bird feed. So anyway, I lost some space there. But there's a cabinet shop in here too. I got a lot of big woodworking equipment and tools, and I used to make a lot of furniture. And I got tired of making furniture and went back to glass. Made glass forever. Then I was making furniture and glass. But there's only 24 hours in a day, and I do need to sleep a few hours. So, where am I going with that? Oh, yeah. So, anyway, I have a great big dust collector that collects the sawdust off of all this equipment. And so I thought, well, I got an idea. The sawdust, larger, hunks of sawdust are not as fine as plaster of Paris. You see how I'm working this in all around here? Not as fine as plaster of Paris. I bet that's not going to make as big a mess. So I started sprinkling sawdust on these windows and cleaning them up with that. And that worked. And then I got to thinking, still a mess. I got the sawdust everywhere, the dust off that. So then I started thinking, well, I wonder what had happened if I cleaned up all this stuff I could clean up. I'm just adding some more here. Cleaned up all this stuff that I could clean up and brushed this thing down real good and ran a vacuum around there, around the brush while I'm working and getting it all cleaned off that way. Would that work? Well, that worked. And I got these real clean, polished up windows, and I skipped the plaster of Paris. Little piece of stuff there. Skipped the plaster of Paris, skipped the sawdust, and skipped a huge mess. So consequently, the leaded windows that I've been doing for quite a few years now don't have all that plaster of Paris mess. And now there are those that, if you, I'm not telling anybody to do anything that I do. I hope I've never done that, and I don't tell you or profess to be an expert on all of this stuff. I only really know, what I know, and I know what I've developed in all these years of doing this stuff. And there are people that would certainly disagree with the way that I'm doing this window, or the way I'm doing the cement, or the way, well, that's fine. I don't care. I don't really disagree with the way anybody does anything. If it works for you, go ahead and use it that way. I just know I'm trying to get these windows done to the absolute best of my ability with the least effort. Well, what's wrong with that? I'm not cutting any corners. I worked in industry for a lot of years, decades, and you would see guys that you worked with. I'm not mentioning anybody in particular, because I'm not even thinking of anybody in particular, but you would see guys that you worked with that had some pretty tough tasks to get done. And over a period of years, the people that were doing these difficult jobs developed ways of doing those jobs and getting them done that was easier. And in industry, I don't know where about any place else, but in industry, there's a term for that. It's called work smart. So I always try to do these stained glass windows with that same philosophy. Work smart. Try to get the best possible effort that you can with the least, or the best result rather, with the least amount of effort. We're getting some more of this stuff. Just see, I'm just spread this out, and then we're going to start working it in. Now we have the upper half of this thing pretty much done. And I'm going to show you once we get the stuff worked in. And I'm real careful not pushing down too hard. I'm going more laterally, would that be right? Than I am down. You don't want to be down too much. You don't want to catch a piece of, like, this is a narrow piece of glass here. Certainly these are narrow. If I break one of these, then I can fix it. But boy, do I not want to do that. Because that's now half a day, depending upon which piece it is. Now, there's a way that I could exercise or extract this piece out of here. But then I would do it from the back, because, well, the way you do that is you come in with a super sharp knife and you cut out that interior face of this lid all the way around. So the only thing that exists, you're going to cut this inside part out. What that would mean is that the glass would pop out of there. Then you would cut another piece of glass and put copper foil all the way around it, and then solder it back in. Well, that's going to look, you know, now from 10 feet away with patina on it, you can't tell it, but up, you know, up front, if you had one of those in here right now, you would see that it was soldered all the way around. Now, if you're real skilled, you can make it look less obtrusive, but it's still there. And if you had a window that you had just sold for a considerable, you know, amount of money, you couldn't do that. So, oh gosh, I would have to start taking this thing apart out here and coming at it, and we'd just have to re-lead it, because, you know, you'd have to just unsolder these joints here and just come out of there and then re-lead back to where it's broken. Boy, when you've got something that's as well made as this one is, you certainly don't want to do that. However, you know, you can't sell a client or can't sell a customer something that, you know, has been repaired to that extent. So the idea is to be cautious and not break the glass. Of course, nobody would do it on purpose, but that's why I'm just real careful here. Take a long piece of glass here, more fragile than, say, this one. So all this effort I'm doing is more going this way. This stuff's got the powder cement here, and the liquid's got a, you know, for forever shelf life. So I buy up a pretty good chunk of it, and it lasts me quite a little while. See, I'm just working this cement, and we didn't get it down in here real good, so work the cement down into here. And this is not an exterior window or any of that kind of stuff, but we want it nice and solid, and this really adds another look to it. This really looks good. Okay, let's go right. Can you see that? Yeah. I did notice on that video yesterday, I was one, now it doesn't happen very often, but there was a spot that that I was working and you couldn't see what I was doing. I made up just about enough of this stuff to get this one side done. I've gotten pretty good about estimating how much, and then see, I'll mix up another batch for the other side. The reason I don't mix up and it doesn't dry that fast, but the reason I don't mix up a huge amount is because I'm going to clean this side up first before I flip it over. Go in here. Go in there. See, you're just working that stuff. I've got to get down in here. See, I'm just working the cement under the edge of the lid. Not much skill involved in this. I think this is just, you know, I think anybody could handle this. The part coming up, I'll show you. I think we're just about to get this. Okay. Do we have any more? We're going to get all of it that we have here. Just work it in. Okay, that's pretty much all we made up. Oh, and you want to get this stuff off of textured glass, you know, don't let it set a long time, because it gets, when it starts drying, it gets hard to get off of textured glass. So glue chip, stuff like that, I work with glue chip and use this stuff. Work with textured glasses and use this stuff. You just come in and get it off. I have had to heavily textured glass, come back with a little dental pick and just sit there and take your time and pick it all out. Get it off there for your finished product. Now I'm down in this area right here, going under there, going under here. Okay. Now, we have that side cemented. Okay. Now, what I do now, yeah, you can get half a dozen. I got all kinds of little old sharp tools and stuff here. But let's go to a place and start. Let's just go right here. Whoop. I want you to be able to see this. Now I'm just going around here and cleaning this out a little bit. Let me get a rag here. I'll get down here where you can see me. I'm just cleaning up the big chunks right now out of there. We'll just let them sit there for a minute. Now what I normally do with this, I'm going to do this without what I normally do. What I normally do is I have a vacuum cleaner running. And I've got a vacuum cleaner that I have dedicated to this type of stuff here. I'm doing it with a rag here now just to show you. But I get a vacuum cleaner going, and I'm just sitting down here going like this. Sucking this stuff up as I go. And you can see now where I'm going to show you something in just a second that's worthwhile. Let's do this section right here so you can see what I'm going to do. Allie hears that squeaking there, and she'll start, there she goes. She's predictable. Is that bothering you? Allie's my little female 13-year-old little collie, and she came out of a puppy mill severely abused. I got her when she was 8 years old, and we don't know what happened to her barker. They either debarked her, I don't know if you want to call that, or they choked her so much with that it ruined her vocal cords. And don't be upset. And so it doesn't too much of a weird sound to set her off. Okay, I want to make sure you see that I've got a method to the madness here in just a minute. Okay, now see, that would all be sucked into the vacuum normally. But if I run the vacuum, all you're going to hear is the vacuum. Okay. So I wanted to get up with the bulk of this heavy duty stuff here. Is that bothering you? Isn't that sad? Of course, she doesn't know doesn't have a beautiful voice. All right, well, anyway, we don't have enough of this cleaned off there to make a real big showing of what I'm trying to show you. Okay, if I had the vacuum, let's just brush that off. Now, see, that's actually getting pretty clean. Now, of course, you want to go around here and get all that cement out of there. Now, what I do next, I'd suck all that stuff out with a vacuum. That's real easy to do. You know, you can buy a vacuum, these cheap vacuums, when these little canister vacs are $50 or $60. And I use that all the time. Then I take this parts cleaning brush. And you can get those, you know, like, well, up here we have Menards and places that auto parts, any Auto Riley or what, I don't know. What do you call those auto parts stores? Anyway, they have those. And what I do then, once I've sucked all the stuff off here, then now you don't want to be going like this because you'll get up under the edge, but straight up and down. And of course, it'd look a little bit better if I had the vacuum in here sucking all this stuff up. But you're going to get the idea here. We'll work these right here. See this? And if there's, see, there's a little. Now the vacuum, of course, would be sucking all these little chunks up, and I run the vacuum when I'm doing this, so that's just sucking all this stuff up. But you're going to get the idea here in just a minute. I'll just blow it off over in this direction. Go around here again. needless to say, the vacuum will make it better. However, there's, I'm going to show you. Now, we haven't even done any real work here. And this thing is looking pretty good. That's not too far away from being ready to patina after this dry. Now, I wouldn't patina this thing until that cement dries 24, 36 hours, and then come in and do the patina. That gives you plenty of time to come back if you need to, you know, and clean this up. Look here. Now, like I say, we haven't used the vacuum, so we don't have this very clean. But I want you to get the idea. And here I am. I've got this thing getting clean here. And the vacuum will be sucking that up. And there it is. I'll apologize for the stuff that's sitting there, but that would be gone with the vacuum. I keep saying that, but sometimes I need to repeat stuff several times. This little brush got a little bit of a nice little brass bristle. Heck, I can use a toothbrush, the whole toothbrush. And then you're getting that fine stuff out of there. Let's just get us Now you can start to get the idea. Certainly this is not completely clean, but that wasn't much effort involved in that. And now I got the lid nice back, shiny back. Vacuum all of this up. I go back over it. I've got another bristle brush here. Go back over it, clean that lid up. And that, once you get the cement dry, that lid will patina up beautifully. And I don't have this monster mess to clean up with either the plaster Paris all over everything. That's just my opinion. Somebody that, you know, knows something or thinks they know something or, you know, smarter than me will come up and say, oh, well, that's not going to work because, well, I couldn't even tell you how many, well, I'd just about say thousands of square feet that I've done the lead work and the cement work with this method and skipped all that mess. And boy, you get a vacuum up here. I got this old, I'll show you this old antique vacuum. There's an old Panasonic, where it is right there. There's my old Panasonic vacuum right there. And man, I've sucked a lot of this stuff up with that thing. And works great. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to run this thing here over this thing with the vacuum and keep going, and then I'll shift over to I might use this brush here or this brush here, work some more of it out of there. Then I'll come in with a little small brush, clean some more, going, you know, straight up and down. You don't want to go down the side of this lead sideways because you'll pull the solder or pull the cement back out. All right, and then I'm going to clean that thing up. She's ready to go. Then patina the thing in about a day and a half. I'll clean this side up and go cement the other side. But that's it. Okay, now I'll show you when we come back and do the patina. I'll show you that too. But we're good here for a day or two. What is it? Monday. I'll probably come back Monday and patina this thing. I have seen it in the light. Oh, wow. It's amazing in the light. And going to be a gorgeous little window. I did solder some eyes onto the side of it. Right there. Little eye to hang it up with. Okay, I don't have any more on this thing. Let's see, I'm going to hope I can turn that phone off with it. Well, I'll take these off. And if you have questions, be sure and ask me. Okay, let me see if I can get this off here without ruining anything. And I'll look at my Facebook thing in a little while. If you have questions, I can answer them. I can't think of anything else I need to add to this. Miracle Mud. There it is. I don't get any discounts or anything for selling this stuff or telling people about them. I don't know how many Hakko irons I've sold. There it is. But I road test this stuff. If it doesn't work, it will not get used on the stuff that I work on. And I do a lot of work. There's a lot of work that goes through this shop. Anybody that's been following me for 2 or 3 years knows it never stops. So if it doesn't work, I wouldn't use it. And this is just bulletproof, you know. Mix the the chemical with the powder. You get the mud whatever way you want it. It's nice and black, holds up good, solid, great stuff, easy to clean up. What's not to like? Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.